This woman was lying in bed waiting for her husband to baptize her. They were going to play some exciting games. Jake pulls out his professional tools and confidently takes a small pill. He handcuffed his girlfriend to the bed and was ready to get down to business. However, due to Jake's overexcitement, his heart began to flutter and he fell uncontrollably on top of his girlfriend. As his girlfriend tried to prop him up, Jake had lost consciousness and rolled to the floor. The girlfriend desperately tried to call out his name, but all she could see was blood pouring out of his head. The girlfriend could do nothing as she was handcuffed and could not get the key. All she could do was desperately call for help, but there was no one around. Only a wild dog appeared. The wild dog made sure it was safe and started licking the blood from the floor. The girlfriend shouted loudly to try to chase the wild dog away, but instead of being afraid, the wild dog bit off chunks of flesh from the man's arm and then lay down in the doorway to slowly savor it. The girlfriend felt extremely sad and helpless and had to rely on herself to save the day. She twisted her wrist as hard as she could and eventually unlocked the chains. Despite the pain, she managed to break free. She then broke the bedpost that held her other hand in place, finally escaping the crisis. However, as she walked to the door, she looked back. She herself was still cuffed to the bed and realized that it was all in her imagination. All of it was baseless fantasy. Suddenly, she remembered her cell phone sitting next to her bed. So she reached forward gently with her toes and came within a hair's breadth of touching the phone. Would the outcome have been completely different if she had worn high heels in the first place? Just then, a dingo stared at her and slowly approached. At this point, she struggled desperately, and luckily the dingo didn't attack him. Suddenly, he remembered that there was a glass of tap water on the bedside table and was ready to take a drink to ease his emotions first. She bucked the board with all her might and finally got the water, but could not drink it because her hands were bound. This is really seeing the water fluctuating and the woman turning inside out. Her brain worked quickly, and she picked up the small card she had picked up in the morning and crushed it into a cylinder with her hands to make an improvised straw and put it in her mouth, thus relying on their own ingenuity. Finally drank the water. At this point, the accident occurred. She felt the back of her feet itchy and looked at the original wild dog licking her feet. The woman went up and gave it a kick, but the wild dog remained tenacious. More dangerous situation is still behind. In the end, the woman was able to suppress the dog through her anger. However, being locked up like this for a long time was not a solution. She realized that if she didn't escape earlier, she would be eaten by the wild dog sooner or later. The woman suddenly thought of the accident in her youth when she cut her palm with a cup, and the blood that flowed out was as smooth as lubricant. She had a moment of clarity and decided to make a bold attempt. She began rubbing her legs to speed up circulation, then pounded the edge of her nightstand with a glass. The pain agonized him as she slowly sliced his wrist with a piece of glass, reducing the size of his hand. Then he managed to escape by lubricating the area around the handcuffs with the blood that flowed out. The effort had not been in vain. He then walked to the other side and pushed the bed in the direction of the phone. She picked up the phone with her toes, but to her surprise, it was dead. Feeling desperate at this point, the woman dragged the bed to the other side again. She made her way to the dresser to get the keys and finally managed to get out of her bonds by unlocking the handcuffs with her mouth. At this point, the wild dog looked at her dully. The woman was exhausted, no time to think more, grabbed the car keys and hurriedly drove away from the scene. But due to the loss of blood, accidentally crashed into a large tree. The loud crash was heard by passing villagers, and the woman finally managed to be taken to the hospital for treatment. This movie tells us young people, don't be too impulsive, or you will lose the essence of youth.